Before I start, I'd like to apologize for any noise you guys may hear in the background. Now, to pick up off my last video, I'd like to state that life and the world we live in is completely subjective. But if you really take a look at how life is set up in its natural state, it is inherently bad. Like I said in my last video, you always have to do something or put work towards something in order to avoid pain. And regardless of how pessimistic I am, I have to admit that us humans today have life way easier than people decades and centuries ago and ages ago. Humans have made significant progress towards making life better, but there are thousands and thousands of bad things in this world that just won't ever be fixed. Let me elaborate on how life is inherently bad. Inherent means naturally, permanent, or essential. It is similar to the word intrinsic. To start this off, every single good thing we have in this world and experience in life requires the work of either yourself or someone else. In some cases, this work can be hard. I'll provide 3 examples, and just to warn you, these examples are kind of long, but they're not too long. I'll provide 3 examples so you guys can clearly understand what I mean. Example number 1, good food. If you want good food, you can't just naturally or magically put good food in your belly, as we wish we all could. Getting good food requires work. If you have food in your refrigerator, you have to get up and move your body to go get it. That is work, but it's extremely easy. But how the food got there requires work of others. The farmers put work in for weeks and months just to help grow the food and ingredients. The processors work long hours to process the food. The truck workers work long hours to deliver the food. And people at the market work long hours to put the food on the shelves, and cashiers work to deal with purchases. And either yourself or someone you're close with had to put in work to get the food to your house and in the fridge. Most of us don't realize it, but now you see how difficult it is for you to be easily able to grab something out of the fridge. It requires much work. And here's my other 2 examples. Example number 2, watching a YouTube video, kind of like how you're doing right now. Watching a YouTube video seems like it requires so little work. All you have to do is move your fingers and click a vid and you're good. But for that to be possible, content creators have to take time out of their day and sometimes spend hours of editing in order to make something good for you to watch. They also have to purchase smartphones or cameras or recording equipment to give you good quality videos. Also, themselves or someone they live with has to work at some job to pay the Wi-Fi bill or the bill for their mobile data on their phone. I forgot to mention that you or someone you live with also has to work to pay the Wi-Fi bill or the bill for your mobile data. Also, someone has to pay the electricity bill to charge your devices that you watch videos on. Also, people that work for YouTube had to work to make sure no one is posting inappropriate things, fixing bugs and glitches, and they work to increase the performance speeds and all things possible to make their platform run good. All this work, and probably some things I didn't even mention, is required for you to be able to easily click a vid and enjoy yourself. Example number 3 and final example, playing games like video games or mobile games like that, right? The work you need to play a game is just moving your fingers and using your brain to play the game smart and to win. That's easy work required to do yourself, but many people had to think hard and work long hours to design the entire game. Someone had to do artwork, someone had to do the music, someone had to do the sound effects, someone had to do the character movement and animations of characters, someone works on the graphics and performance, someone looks for bugs and glitches, etc., etc. Even after the game is made, people still had to work to operate the servers and release updates to fix it. Work is needed to mass produce the game or upload it to the cloud. Work is needed to get the electricity bill paid so you can play. Also, work is needed to pay for the Wi-Fi bill for games that require online and multiplayer. All of this work is needed just so you can easily move your fingers on the device or joystick to enjoy yourself. Now back to what I was saying. Life is inherently bad because work is required to do everything as I explained in all my examples. Besides sleeping, literally everything you do in life requires some degree of energy or work put forth to do so. Work is needed by yourself and or someone else just to enjoy some of the simplest things you do to enjoy yourself on a daily basis. All the work that is done can be stressful and sometimes suffering towards individuals who work the long hours. Physical and mental pain also occurs at these jobs that people work at. This makes life inherently bad because without work, the work that requires stress, exhaustion, labor, and sometimes physical and or mental pain, without work, life is just naturally bad. Seriously, think about this. I want you to really think about this right now as you're listening to my words. If you set aside anything in life that required the work of others, and also set aside anything that requires work from yourself, this would lead you to a terrible situation. This situation would have you outside, naked, and doing absolutely nothing. That's because the house that you live in requires work, and you have to work to pay bills, and people have to build that house. Clothes on your back required work of others, and anything and everything you do to enjoy yourself requires work. Without work of yourself and others, life is inherently and naturally bad. Even if you decided to build your own house, make your own clothes, and grow your own food, that will all still require hours, days, and years of work for the rest of your life. Life is also inherently bad because life isn't inherently good. Life being inherently good would mean that there'd be no work required from yourself or others to experience happiness and pleasure. Basically, if life was inherently good, it would be a utopia. Here is proof that life is inherently bad. I want you guys to really listen to this. Here's the proof. If any one of you watching this video right now, think about this. If any one of you watching this video right now sat in an empty room for 5 hours straight doing absolutely nothing, for 5 hours straight doing nothing, you would wind up suffering rather than feeling pleasure. That right there is proof that life itself is intrinsically bad, and we will always, and I mean always, have to work or do something in order to not feel pain or distract ourselves from the reality of life. This isn't even my opinion, it's facts. If you sat in a room for 5 hours straight doing absolutely nothing, there is nothing I can think of that will feel good out of that. You would only feel bad things like boredom, stress, tiredness, hunger, and exhaustion from doing nothing. If life was inherently good in this scenario, you would always feel satisfied and you would never get bored. You would be eternally happy and feel pleasure from doing nothing those full 5 hours and for forever after that. You wouldn't have to work at all or do anything to feel good because it will feel good for forever, just like a utopia, and there will be no work required to feel that way. If life in its natural state was good to us humans, then we would never feel pain and we wouldn't have to work forever in order to feel pleasure and satisfaction. Literally everything you do, everything you do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep requires some type of work or energy put forth just to experience something pleasurable. Life should not be this way, and this is also one of the reasons why I'm an anti-natalist. You gotta get up and spend money to eat breakfast. Gotta use energy to clean your body that will just get dirty again for the next day and the next. Gotta drive to work, then work your long stressful hours. Gotta drive back home. Gotta eat because you're hungry. Gotta try to watch something before falling asleep and waking up again just to realize that you have to do this cycle over and over again for the rest of your life. If life was inherently good, hunger wouldn't exist, negative emotions wouldn't exist, evil wouldn't exist, pain wouldn't exist, diseases wouldn't exist, murder wouldn't exist. Literally anything that makes life miserable wouldn't exist if life was naturally good. I also like to mention, I believe it is crazy how people like to worship how good they think life is and worship the progress humans have made, and they say stuff like, you should be grateful for everything you have in this world. Grateful for what? Grateful that I have to keep seeing people cry about their loved ones getting killed? Grateful that I'll have to work for the rest of my life to survive? Come on now. I should be grateful that I live in a world where the only way to escape this life is to commit suicide, which will be painful on top of that. I should be grateful to live in a world where you'll get called mentally ill just because you don't like the way your life is going. I should be grateful to live in a world that I didn't even ask to be in. Like I said, life is inherently bad. It's also a load of BS. It's a scam. It's a huge laugh and a fuck you in the face. Everything you do in life is ultimately for nothing. And if you're some regular guy like me, no one will remember you or anything you've done in 500 years from now. In conclusion, life is inherently bad because it is impossible to enjoy anything without having to suffer first or have some kind of work put forth towards it. Any good human can realize that it is sick to create another person to go through all of this. It is impossible to enjoy life without feeling pain. Thank you for watching, and if you can, please share this video. I know it's probably damn near impossible to convince every human to not reproduce, but for me, even just convincing one human to not procreate makes me feel special, because that child won't ever have to witness this unbearable nightmare.